Hello and welcome back to another stream, and in this one we're going to be working on creating a 404 page. So I've realized that I do not have a not found page, and almost every other website has it, right? The other day one of my friends was he went into the blog and he clicked on a link and he just changed this, and he was like, what happens if I change this with something random? And then he changed this to something random, and then I just saw this instead, which is obviously not good, right? Okay, so today's task is to basically add a 404 page somehow. Okay, I've done some preliminary work, but I'm going to revert all of these and I'm going to explain you what I have done. So let's revert this one, and also let's delete that file. We're going to recreate everything, and then hopefully we end up with a working 404 page. And then in the next stream, I'm planning to do some styling. That's the plan. Okay. I have made some designs for it, but I don't want to share just yet. There will be time. Okay, let's get started. So, obviously the first thing that we have to do is to create the page itself, right? So we have 4 pages right now: blog post, CV, and home. I haven't worked on the CV for a very long time. Actually, this was created when I first started the project, but never mind. So, okay, let's create a new page. Let's copy the CV one because it's the simplest page that I have, and we can use this as a base template. I'm gonna call this not found, just because I cannot name JSX files 404, and you cannot export components that are not called obviously names. So I'm just gonna say not found in here. So the new page is gonna be 404 not found, and we can delete all of these, and I'm just gonna put the simple paragraph in there. And this paragraph is obviously going to say something like 404. This is a super simple thing that we put in there for now, but this page is going to contain a lot more when the time comes. So let's clean this up. We're going to replace the CV parts with not found. Okay, good. Now we're going to add this to the router, right? So this is the router that we currently have. What does it do? So if there's nothing in the URL, just go to the home page. What I mean by that is, if it's just the main URL of the website, the home or the landing page, just go to the home page. All right. So if it's /CV, go to the interactive resume bit, which I haven't really worked on yet, but I'll let you guys see it for now. Okay. In one of my previous streams, I used React Suspense to detach this component from the rest of this website, so I can dynamically load whenever I need it, because I don't have any links from inside the website to this component, right? And I don't need to bundle this into my homepage. This doesn't need to load as fast as the blog pages, so I'm loading this dynamically. There's a whole stream about this. You can just go back and watch it. Just search for personal website React Suspense, whatever. I must have tagged it somehow. Okay, so the next one is blog. So blog link is probably /blog. Yep, it's just the. Is it just this? Okay, I'm using it in 3 different places, so yeah, it makes sense that it's extracted. Okay, and the other one is blog post, obviously, and yeah. So again, I do not want my 404 page to be bundled into my whole website, right? So what I'm gonna do is I want this page to be suspense loaded as well. So if you want a page to be like, if you want to defer the loading of a page until you actually need it, you have to use this thing called suspense. Again, as I said, there's a whole stream about this. You can go back and watch it. So I'm just going to use React Suspense in here. I'm going to say root, and I'm not going to specify a path, because this is going to be like, we're going to land on this page after. Okay, so this is going to get a bit complicated, but so I'm not going to specify a path, and then I'm going to tell you, actually let's start by specifying a path, and then I can remove the path and I'll show you the effects, and then I'll talk about what we will have to do. We have to duplicate this. We're just going to say not found. Okay. No. All right, that's it. So if you go to /404, oh, that's the actual website. Okay, if you go to /404, you can see that it's, oh, Yes. Um, if you go to /404, you can see that we landed on our new component right now. But if you go to, like, the aim for today's stream is to basically say, if I type something random in here, I just want to land on the 404 page. If it's something that I haven't specified in the router itself, I just want to go to the 404 page directly, right? Okay. So how do we do that? How do we make sure that everything else, like, so I've specified all of these, but everything else that I haven't specified, they have to go to the 404 page somehow. Okay, apparently the way that you do it is just not, you don't specify a path, but if you don't specify the path, there are other problems. Okay, let's see what those problems are. Okay, everything seems to be working, right? If I go to the blog, oops, obviously that should throw the 404. As you can see, that's working now. But if you go to the blog seems to be working. Everything's fine, right? And if you go to, let's say, I don't know, CV is still working. But what is this? Why is it there? Let's go back to the blog. Okay, 404 is here. So it's not, so I don't want this to be rendered if there's a web page there, right? And apparently what you have to do is, there's a way for you to pick only one of these components. There's something called a switch statement in browser router in React. So what you have to do is, you just do something like this. You put a switch in here, if I remember correctly. I hope this works, and I'm gonna tell you what this does in a minute. Okay, and you go up there, and then you do the switch. All right, so, right, so this switch, it works kind of like a switch statement in any other programming language that has a switch statement. So it's, imagine if this was like Java, it looks at the first one, if it matches the first one, goes into the first one, second one, third one, and then keeps on working with one of these, right? All of them, actually. So it will walk through all of these routes and then only pick one of them. If CV matches, then it will stop here and then also will not render this component. If /home matches here, it will stop and not render any of these components. I'm not sure if you have to specify exact anymore. I don't think so. We'll take a look again. But okay, so if we go back, the 404 should disappear. And as you can see, it's not there anymore. Let's go to another component and let's see if, actually, okay, it's still showing for some reason. This might be because we haven't specified switch in this. Okay, so it's not here. It's not in the blog. This is probably because we haven't specified the switch in here. So it gets into this one and then it renders both of them at the same time. So we might also need to, oops, we might also need to do the switch in here. I'm not sure how this will work, but we'll see. So let's put these here. Okay, let's go back. All right, now the blog is dead. Oh, okay, actually no. Okay, all right, it's working. Cool. The homepage seems to be fine as well. The 404 text is not there. Let's go to /CV, and we should not see the 404 text in there. Good job, we've done it right. So. My bracelet came off, so wait one sec. Okay, so CV works, and if I type something random, there you go, we still get the 404 page. Good job. Okay, now what we need to do is, this seems to be working out, right? I can just end this stream in here, but wait, there's another problem. So in the blog post, we are accepting an argument here, and I'm using this argument to fetch a file, a markdown file, and I'm using a markdown renderer to place this inside the blog post component that I have. It's a very long story. You should go back and watch that stream. So the way that these markdown texts get rendered is by, I have markdown files in my React project, if that's what you call this thing now. It's huge, but okay. So if you see here, I have markdown files, and inside these markdown files, obviously I have my blog posts. They're huge, and I don't want to like download them all if the user's not going to view them, right? These are all downloaded dynamically based on the file size file name that I give in here. So all of the links in here, they contain copy link address. If I paste it here, you can see I have the name of the blog, and the blog post component automatically matches that name with a folder that has with an array of file names that contain these things. Okay, it's a very long story. I'm not going to tell the whole story in this one. You can go back and watch how I created the blog post component, I guess. But long story short, if I type something random in here, you're not going to go to the 404 page. You're just going to be granted with this weird error, right? So you kind of need to tell this component to redirect back to the 404 page in case something goes wrong. And okay, this is where this stream becomes a bit more challenging. Turns out we have to modify this again, but I have to change the logic in here a little bit so that it automatically redirects to the place that I want. I know this is a complicated component in itself, and I don't want to make it more complicated, and I might just go in here and then refactor everything and separate them into different components one day. But for now, let's just get this done. And if it starts becoming a problem, I'll create a tech debt item, and then we'll separate this out in the future. I don't think that's going to be a major problem because we're just adding a redirect logic, and like it's manageable, right? This file is not even 100 lines. Okay, I know that's the wrong thought, but okay, let's just carry on. So we have a function here that maps the file names that I give to into hashed links that Webpack provides for me when I build the website somehow. I don't know how that works, but if you go into this function, I give it a file name, and I give it an array of file names. I give it an array of hashed file names that Webpack or React or whatever provides them to me. I don't know. I search for that file name inside the array, and I return the matching hashed URL. So let me print those URLs for you, and then you can see them much clearly. Yeah, let's just do it here. Console.log. So if I log something in here, you're gonna see folders. Oh, come on, I can't type the folders. Oh, okay, log files. So if I log this in here in the browser, you're probably gonna see some files with hashed URLs. Console. Yep, you can see an array of 9 elements in here. These are all the files that I have in my website. They're under static/media/blog post names, and also they have the name of the blog, and also they have the hash and then the file extension. So let's go to an actual blog post again. So as you can see, iOS versus Android is one of the elements in here. iOS versus Android something.markdown. And what this function does is it grabs this and matches this with one of those things, and then returns this whole URL. Okay, now that I've given you a summary of what that function does, let's go back and let's write a redirect logic for it. So what do we want to do? If whatever the user types in here is not found in here, that function should throw an error, right? And then we should handle that error case accordingly. How do we do that? Okay, whenever we get the error, we should tell the component not to render anymore, and then stop rendering immediately, or like pause or unmount and do something else and redirect to the other page that we have just created, the 404 page, I mean. Okay. So how do we do it? Okay, so I think we can create a variable in here, and then that we're gonna call it, no, we use let. We're in 2020. We use let, not var anymore. Okay, so let redirect. Let's make this full set first. So even if we don't render the component, we have access to these files at runtime, right? We don't have to send an additional request to get those file names. They're in memory. So what we could do is we could modify this function. That function, so instead of returning null, we can make it throw an error, and then this error is gonna say file name is not found. Yeah, we can work with that, and then let's actually I want to replace this with a template string. Yeah, that works. Okay, let's put some spaces in there. File something is not found. Okay, good. That's a perfectly viable error, I guess. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, so let's go back to blog post, and in here, what are we gonna do? We're gonna have a try and catch, definitely, because we are gonna catch an error, and if there's an error, we're just gonna tell the component not to render, right? I don't care about the specific exception, so I'm gonna remove those parentheses. But what we could do is we can call that function. So we're gonna call the same function that we call in here. Okay, and in case if there's an error, we're gonna say redirect equals true. Okay, now that we've got this logic, we have to find a way to use it, right? How do we use this thing? Let's clean up the spaces and let's think. So if this is true, then we don't want to render this component anymore, right? So I should add another flag in here, something like redirect question mark. If redirect is true, then return another component. Actually, I should put the return in here, right, at the beginning of this. So if redirect is true, then return something, and if redirect is false, then return something else. I mean, if redirect is false, I know what I'm going to return, right? I'm just going to return whatever this thing is. So that's for certain. And I think I need to put the semicolon in there. So, okay, I need to remove this. I need to clean this thing up first. Right, it's complaining about too many things that I don't understand right now. Okay, let's revert it back. Okay, I don't want to do all of the changes at one go. So paragraph here, let's close this off, P in here, and then another one in there. That looks good. Now add a semicolon in there. Is it still complaining? Let's clean this up. Okay, now it's just complaining there are two returns, which is, yeah, obviously it's wrong. I see. The second part of this redirect is going to return whatever is inside these parentheses, right? So I'm just going to copy these parentheses, and I'm just going to replace this part with that. And it should stop complaining, and I'm going to get rid of this whole thing now. Okay, good job. Now we need to replace this thing with a redirect. So the way that you redirect to other web pages when you're using browser router is you have this thing called redirect, and then it takes one class name, it's a 2. By the way, I know these things just because I've done a previous stream today about all of these things. It was like an exploration stream. I just did a bunch of Googling on camera, which is very boring. But if you want to see how I learned about this stuff, you can go back and watch this. It's probably going to get deleted from Twitch in the next 60 days. And I'm not planning to upload that to YouTube. So if it's lost, it's lost. Yes, that's the one we need. And we want to redirect to 404. This is an arbitrary URL that I've just put, and I'm going to talk more about this thing in a minute. Okay, good job. That's fine. Okay, so this logic is going to set whatever. Okay, this should work, but at the same time, it doesn't stop this fetch function from being called. So when this component mounts, no matter what this returns, this use effect is going to get called, and it's going to ask for this file, right? If it doesn't find the file there, then it's going to throw an error anyway. We don't want that. So to prevent this, also another problem is we're calling this function twice. Why do we have to call the same function twice in the same scope, right? We don't need to do that. So let's create a new variable in here. Let's say file, no, not file name, blog file name, or blog, or hashed blog file link. Okay, that's a better name. This is not going to be anything for now. Let's just make that null, and also let's assign this to here. Let's copy. Oops, what's happening? Okay, let's copy that, and Now that we've got that, we can replace it with this one. Okay, and also we can get rid of that now. I think we can put all of these things in an if statement, right? So we don't want those to be called if redirect is true. So these are going to get called first and then the use effect function. So if I put all of these inside an if statement, then I will tell use effect to run conditionally, which is not necessarily true. You shouldn't do that really, but it will do the job for me. If that makes sense. Probably doesn't. Okay, let's do this. Yeah, that's good. And yep, and ooh, okay, we have broken something really badly. Okay, let's revert back to the last known good-looking step. Okay, maybe there's no last good step. Okay, we've definitely broken something in here. Ah, the parentheses, they're always the trickiest ones to fix. Okay, we know that this one is working. Now we just add the redirect back here. Was that because I forgot to put this closing tag? Maybe. Okay, I think it's fine now. Yes, it's fine. Okay, let's go back to the task in hand. So now that we've done this, we don't have a dependency on match.params.blogpost anymore. We have a dependency on hashed blog file link, and also we have a dependency on redirect now. You know what? I think this is it. This should work. So that's the blog. Nice. That's not working anymore. Why? If I type something random in here, what happens? Oh, okay, we get redirected to oh, that's why. Yeah, that's why. If I was just doing if redirect was true, then run the use effect one. It's not okay. This should work now. All right, we see the blog. We'll fix that in a future stream. I'm gonna do some investigation on this error first. Sorry. Homepage works. Interesting. Okay, I'll take a look at these areas, but for now, it seems to be doing what I wanted it to do. So if I just type random stuff in here, it works. I get redirected to the 404 page, and if I type random stuff in here, then I find myself in the 404 page again. All right, good. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to create a 404 page. Well, we're going to redirect everything to the 404 page. So if I type something random in here, this is not going to stay as AFAS FS something. It's going to say 404 in here, just like it says with the blog. So if you come here, and then if I type something in here, we get redirected to 404, right? That's exactly what we want. So, and also if I type 404 in here, well, if I type anything in here, I just wanted to say 404 when I get redirected to the 404 page. So the way we're going to do that is, I think we can do something like this. If you're using a deferred loader for a component that you have, what you need to do is just, instead of putting a redirect to the end of here, what you need to do is you have to do the redirect in here. So if I put my redirect in here, then it's just going to work as expected. So I'm just going to redirect to 404 for all of the unknown pages, and I'm going to say root / path equals 404 in here. Oh, come on. Okay. So, and let's import this. Don't forget to import it. What this is going to do is, let's go back to the website. If you remember previously, if I put a random string in here, it would redirect us back to the 404 page, but if I pressed enter, then that random string would remain here, but we would still be in the 404 page, right? And when you add the redirect and when you specify the 404 page to be, oh, let's add exact here, by the way. It's not really necessary probably, but yeah, we can be specific. Okay, and yeah, I've identified another problem. The problem is if you go to the blog, whoops, see it worked there. Okay, if you go to the blog and if you come here, if you change this, oops, if you change the string, it's going to take you to 404, which is expected, but if you add something in here, it would not take you back, and I think we can fix that by specifying exacts in here as well. And now if you go back and refresh this site, it should take us to 404. So we fixed two problems at one go. That was good. So if I add anything in here, it's going to redirect us back to 404, which is perfect. Okay, I'm going to push this to prod, and this is all of the changes that I'm going to make today. And tomorrow you're going to be decorating, or hopefully tomorrow, I'm not sure about tomorrow, but we're going to be redecorating this page. I have a super cool new design. It's not really that cool, but it's an A design. It's better than this one. Okay, thank you for joining, and that's it.